Hello, welcome in. Welcome in tonight. We will be getting started very shortly. I always forget what this button is every single time. Okay. Once again, this webinar will be recorded tonight and reshared within a week. So you can share this with your student. You can refer to it whenever you need, as well as some frequently asked questions in the article. So that will be shared in your email, or you can always find it in the family communication portal. Like I said, it will be recorded. So if you do unmute yourself and ask any questions tonight, your voice will be recorded. Please save your questions to the end or ask them in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer them whenever we can. If I don't know the answer or Julie doesn't know the answer, we can answer them at the end, and Emily will be happy to answer. And without further ado, I'll pass it to you, Emily.
Hi, good evening. This webinar is about cybersecurity. Now, I'm not sure if you know, but October for the last, I think it's 10 years or so, has been designated National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So at Montclair, we thought October would be the perfect time to increase our communications and our events around awareness for student data. We also do a lot of communications and activities for our employees and faculty, but we thought it would be a very good time to have this webinar and just introduce the parents to what our office is about in information security, what we do, and to also provide some tips for both your students and yourselves to keep your information secure, both at Montclair and at home. So who am I? My name is Emily Harris. My title is Chief Information Security Officer, often referred to as the CISO, and I work in the Information Technology Division at Montclair State University. Information technology handles computer services for all of our constituents, and my area, my department, is information security. Our office does a lot. We help our constituents keep their own data secure. And on the back end, we are tasked with keeping all the information at Montclair State University secure. The team for information security, and I know Julie might correct me, is 10 people. They're separated into two areas. One group helps with the login information for our constituents. We refer to it as the net ID, which is something your students may have mentioned. It's how they log into our services. There's another group which is really concerned with those threats that might come on campus. What are bad people trying to do? Are they trying to hack into our computers? Are they trying to hack into our systems? Are they trying to take information out of the university? And it's a very large amount that we do. We are very concerned generally with how individuals are using technology and keeping their own data safe. Because often what we see come to campus is that individuals might click something they shouldn't have clicked. Maybe they write down their password somewhere and they lose it. And those are ways that individuals can contribute to keeping their own information safe. So in our area, it's the back end work, it's working with the servers, it's working with our platforms, everything that a student interacts with, but it's also how the students themselves are using their own computers and keeping their information safe. What really is cybersecurity? And what are we talking about in this conversation? A university and our students coming to the university is often a brand new experience. Now, I know at Montclair, a lot of our students are transfer students. They're coming in from other schools. But for many of our students, this is a brand new experience. They are here bringing their devices. They're introduced to new tools and technologies, and they're using them in ways that maybe they have never used them before. In that transition into college, there's a lot more independence, freedom, direction. The tools we use can be very different. And almost, I would say about 95% of what they do is online. The charge in cybersecurity is to make sure that all those activities are done in a way that continue to keep that information safe. Whoop. So these are the topics we are going to go through today. If you have any questions as I go through these topics, please feel free to put them in the chat. They will be collected mostly to address at the end, but if there's anything really pertinent at the moment, my colleagues here, especially Julie, who is a member of the information security team and helped put together these materials today, she will raise her hand and make sure that I see the question. So we will talk about why cybersecurity matters, what the specific threats are to universities and our students, good habits for students to have in order to stay safe while they're using our technologies and the internet, what we actually see in terms of the threats that can come to campus, how families can support their students and also protect their own information. And finally, we will give you the campus resources if students have questions and where they can go for help. So why does cybersecurity matter in college, in universities? Why is it important? Students are really prime targets for scammers or individuals who want to steal money, right? So part of the reason for this is that generally in higher education, we've been a little behind, say, in terms of keeping security at top of mind versus private companies. And this is just something that's been known over the last 10, 20 years that in higher education, colleges and universities, we've been a little behind with this particular issue. So we've become these really high targets. Education and healthcare tend to be the top targets for cyber attackers. Another reason is because of the newness of coming to the university. The students are coming out of high school, they're new in a new environment, and with that transition, there sometimes comes a lack of knowledge. Our students are constantly connected. 95% or so of what they are doing while they're at Montclair is on a computer or it's electronic. And this constant connection is an area where cyber attackers know there's a lot of people online at all times at this place, and they're going to take advantage of that. There's also valuable information. There is a lot of information that Montclair needs to collect about students so that they can be students here at the institution. It's the same as for employees. This is just the information that we need from our constituents in order to make Montclair operate as a school. And there's a lot of private information that comes with that. One of the things we really want to consider is that we don't want to disrupt the students' academics, right? So we really make it a high priority that if a student does have trouble, if something happens to their account, if a bad person gets access to their account and something happens, that is going to disrupt their academic life. And one of the things that we really are concerned about is making sure that our students are not disrupted and that nothing affects that academic life. The scams we see today, they're more sophisticated. AI has been, in a way, a game changer for both sides of this, for both us as practitioners keeping information secure and the people who want to steal the information or want to steal money from others. The scams that attackers are using to try and dupe our students and our other constituents, they're much more sophisticated. There used to be a time where we would tell people if you get an email and the grammar isn't right and the spelling isn't right and something seems off, then that is a big indicator that it might be a malicious email, that it's not real. In today's day and age, with AI, those emails look better than ever. It's very easy to write an email, make it look like something official. And of course, as we already touched on, college is a time of transition. New place, new technology, new tools. And when we introduce these concepts of keeping your information secure, it helps them stay focused on really the task at hand. They're here to learn, they're here to be educated, get a degree, and move on from Montclair with success. So, what are we really looking out for in terms of the types of threats that can impact students? The number one threat we see is phishing emails, malicious emails that come in with a link on it that's attempting to steal their login name and password. We also see these come in by text message. So a student could get a text message. I even get these text messages. Um, you have something at the post office, or they could be specific to Montclair. There's something wrong with your Montclair account. Please click this link. And that is the number one threat that we see, and the number one threat that we are trying to contain and make sure it doesn't impact our students. Part of the bad emails we get is fake job offers. This is really common for students because the cyber attackers, the bad people, they know that students are a population always looking for jobs. So we get a lot of emails targeting students that say, we have a job opportunity. Click here, fill in your personal information, and we'll tell you more about it. Financial aid and tuition scams, again, very targeted towards the student population. They're claiming that there's a payment due, that they have to log into a site and see their invoice, and they're designed to steal that personal information, and in particular, a social security number. Students can overshare on social media, which is something that happens to adults too. And it's where we're not necessarily paying attention all to our social media usage and posting too much information. This can be very revealing, and this is information that attackers can use for impersonation or to try and scam them directly through the social media. Passwords are a constant struggle, right? They come to campus and they're told, create a new password. This is going to get you into all the systems. And often the way that we are taking care of those passwords aren't great. Writing them down, sharing them, putting them even on the computer in a little note. Ideally, these passwords should just be stored in our heads, right? Which I know is a hard task. And we'll get to some tips at the end. But that password is really the key to everything they do here, and it has to be protected. We also have multi-factor authentication. I'm not sure if the students have told you about that. So every time they log in, they have to use a mobile device or sometimes there's a code they use. It's a second piece of information that they have to put in order to gain access. That second piece also has to be secured. And the normal way that works is through a tool we use called Duo, where it pops up a little notification on the phone, right? And so we also see that scammers can take advantage of getting a password and just like send that little Duo thing. And sometimes our students are responding to them, even though it's not actually them logging in. AI enhanced scams. I'm sure we've all heard of the deep fakes on the internet, voice cloning, where they can take somebody's voice and they can map it, and then they can create any sentence, paragraph, interaction they want using that voice clone. And I can and they use it to impersonate individuals and family members and try and dupe people into thinking this is actually somebody they trust. I actually mentioned this one, the package delivery scam. And again, it's a variation on that phishing email. It's you have a package that's delayed. Click here for more information, and it's going to collect personal information. Or the tolls. Getting a text from New Jersey saying you have an overdue toll. You have to click here to pay it. These are also common scams we see. And I personally, I live in New York, and I think I get the New York toll scam at least twice a week. So at Montclair, what do some of these messages actually look like? So we have some examples for you. We have the too good to be true job offer. We are offering you a job. You can work from home. It's remote. Just click here, fill out this form, and apply, and we'll give you more information. Our students are always looking for job opportunities, and often they do fall for these because they believe they're valid. We've also had other people at the school get these and forward them along to other individuals because they're not necessarily realizing that this is fake. Now, what can you do as a parent? You can talk to them about this, that this is a common thing, that students get it, fake job offers, to be mindful about anything that seems too good to be true in terms of getting a job. But here at Montclair, we actually have a formal platform for students looking for jobs. We call it Handshake. And this is a platform that our career services office uses for valid job offers for students. So encourage your student to go to career services and to interact only with Handshake if they're looking for a job, because the jobs through career services are going to be the valid ones. A little bit of suspicion always helps. Being suspicious of these unsolicited emails, like how would they know that I'm a good fit for this job? How do I know anything about this person? Would somebody just really email me out of the blue and say, I have an opportunity, but it has nothing specific or anything I can verify? Students can always ask for help. They can take this email and they can report it to us. There's two ways we tell students to report suspicious emails, malicious emails. One of them is what we call the pad. There's a little more information later in this presentation. And it's just a little button in their Gmail. It looks like a little hook. They can contact the IT and ask where that hook is. But if they're looking at an email in Gmail and that email looks bad, they can click the hook. It goes right to my team, right to information security. And we reply back and we give that student guidance, say, yes, thank you so much for reporting. This is fake. No other action is needed. Or if they've reported something and it is valid, we'll tell them and we'll tell them why. So asking for help is really, really important. This is an example of a typical phishing email that we see, where email comes in. It says, we're going to disable your account. They pretend they're IT. And you have to take this action and tell us if you want to keep it. And of course, if they click on that link, what they're going to find is a website asking for their username and password. And that's how the attacker is going to grab that username and password and get into their account. It looks real because of the sense of urgency. Take action now, or something bad will happen. And this tends to work on people. It makes them feel like it's really important. Their adrenaline goes up and they tend to act without necessarily thinking about the rest of the message. Attackers will mimic real emails. There's a lot of, in terms of emails that go around campus and that people are emailing, there's a lot of ways those emails get off campus. There's a lot of email accounts that are being used, and cyber attackers can get access and understand what we put on in our signatures, what logos we're using. They can research a website and say, what does a format of an email look like? Where do emails come from? Who's important at this university? And they will make every attempt they can to make it look real. We do see these emails pretending they're the IT department. And what indicates that's not the IT department is usually the from address, or usually just the way they've done the phrasing. So they do a really good job pretending they are the IT department. Students are afraid that they won't be able to log in. Their life here is online. So if something bad happens to their ID, they won't be able to get into their classwork. They won't be able to get communications from their professors. So this creates this sense of panic. I'm going to lose access to my account. I better take action. So what can you do? How do you advise your student? We tell them it's always good to stop and think before that click. Take another look. Instead of just having that gut reaction of, I have to take an action, so I'm going to click on this right now, it's okay to just pause, consider the content of this message, take that other look, and verify what is in here that really tells me that it's real or might not be. Also, these phishing links in the email, even just hovering over the link at a computer, just hovering the mouse over the link, or on a phone, putting your finger on the link, it'll show you where it actually goes. When Montclair State University is sending a communication, the link in the email is going to normally, most of the time, I will say montclair.edu at the end. It's going to be clear that it's one of our websites. Now, especially for logging in, whenever students logging into our services, it has the same look and feel, and it says montclair.edu. So taking a look at what that link is can be really helpful in determining whether or not it's fake. And of course, a little suspicion. If it looks a little off, if somebody is unsure, they should report it. They should report it. And again, I have a absolutely wonderful team as part of information security, and they're extremely good at seeing that message that comes in and getting back to somebody and saying, yes, this is fake, or no, this is real. So never be afraid to report a message. And even if it's a valid one, we'll tell you and we'll thank you. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. And this one is real. And we'll tell you why. There's a little education there. So how do they report? Now, remember these slides, this webinar will be available later. And the information we're giving you here today is also available on the Montclair website in the information technology section. So everything we're telling you today and in these slides, you can get later. There is a picture of the hook. In the Gmail interface on the web, that hook shows up on the right-hand side. On a mobile device, it shows up at the bottom when somebody is looking at an email. So clicking on an email and reading it, it's just one click. They're reporting the message. There's nothing else they have to do. For our students, it does require a step to set up for them, and information on that is on our website, and that's the URL on the slide. If they can't set up the hook, which is the easiest thing to do, we have a dedicated email address where they can forward the email. It's very simple, fishfiles@montclair.edu. When they do that, if they had any additional communication with this email or any interaction with an individual, it also helps if they can include that information as well. The IT service desk. Hopefully all students are familiar with the IT service desk because that's the general technology help for anything related to the services that we are providing from a technology standpoint. The IT service desk is always a resource. We have people staff there in person. And if a student wants that in-person connection to say, I think there's something wrong, or I may have done something, we encourage them to interact with somebody at the service desk. There is nothing that a student can't tell us. We do want to know, even if when somebody falls for something, we can help and we can give a lot of guidance, and we don't judge. It happens to us all. So we do encourage students to tell people if they interact with something or something looks off, or they might have had a negative impact from clicking on something or responding to email. So what is the fish files? The email address we provided is fishfiles@montclair.edu. But this goes with a website, an online bulletin board, if you will, an announcement page. I call it a blog because it is a website that has posted articles that serve two functions. One, it actually posts real messages we've gotten to campus. We get a phishing message. It's a new and interesting scam. Take a picture of it, We'll put it on the website, and this is work we do, and then we'll explain why it's a bad email. So we actually take real emails we've gotten, which are phishing, malicious, fraudulent, and we will show people exactly what it looks like and explain to them why it is a scam. The other thing we do is we do post articles, little tips and tricks. It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So every week there's a new article that we're posting as part of Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And there's really good information there on a weekly basis about something that anybody can do to help keep their information secure. And this could be just reminder about password hygiene, reminders about using Duo or other multi-factor authentication on personal accounts. It can be Montclair specific information and tips and tricks. So it runs the gamut. And everything we post there, it stays forever. You can look at it because it's public. The students can look at it, our employees, and it's really for everybody in the community. One moment while I pause. Okay. So, what are some of the tips that we share? As we said before, taking that pause, stopping and thinking for a moment before clicking on a link can really help to keep somebody from falling for a scam. Password hygiene, using strong, unique passwords. I know that there's a lot of things we log into. There's probably 100 things that I log into on a weekly basis. And it's difficult, but it's very important to have unique passwords for different services. And what we make sure to tell students and our other constituents, staff and faculty, is at a minimum, make sure that Montclair password is different than other passwords. Because if you're using the same password for multiple things, and if somebody gets your password, they can get into everything. Turning on multi-factor authentication, again, at Montclair, we have a platform for this. We have a service, it's Duo. So everybody has multi-factor. It should be turned on where available for all personal accounts as well. Social media, banking, even retail. Everything we do online, most services today say, do you want to turn on multi-factor authentication? And we encourage everybody to do so. Watching for those phishing attempts, being mindful of emails that look like they're official emails is not just from Montclair State University. It can be pretending to be a bank, pretending to be job sites. So being mindful not only of those messages that might look like it's about Montclair, but other types of scams as well. Keep the devices updated. Whether it is an iPhone, an Android, or a laptop, when the warnings come up to update the device, it's really important that those updates are made as soon as feasible. A lot of times those updates are about security. They are about security. And if they're not updated, it could be putting their information at risk. Limiting what's shared, and this goes back to what we were saying about social media, being mindful of privacy settings on social media sites, what is actually being shared, because a lot of that information shared publicly could later be used by cyber attackers so they can craft better emails and better scams. School resources. Using the fish alert button, the little hook, contacting the service desk, knowing who to call when they need help, very, very important to relay. And also, as I said, encouraging that communication. We're not here to judge anybody when something goes wrong. We're here to help them recover if there's any risk of any harm coming to anybody. So here is a list of resources here at Montclair. For losing money, if something actually happens and somebody loses money from falling for a phishing attempt or any other malicious online activity, they should contact the university police. If it involved Montclair, if interacting with a Montclair email, something that looked like an MSU email and they lost funds, definitely go to UPD first. If it's involving their personal accounts, something with their bank or their credit cards, they also should be calling those companies as soon as possible. Um, temporarily um, temporarily blocking any withdrawals with the bank, reporting lost credit card or fraudulent charges to a credit card company. These are things that should be done right away. We also do see, unfortunately, with the increase of an online digital life, instances of harassment or stalking or threats that appear online. The offices that should be gone to for these issues include the Title IX and Student Contact Office in terms of issues that could come up between students or other people at MSU. If it's something external, it is campus police, UPD, who should be the first contact. And then if something happens on platforms themselves, right? Because we can't control how anybody uses the Instagram, TikTok, all those other services that are used today. If something is happening within those services, they can reach out directly to those services and start writing to them about the issue. We could assist in guiding in these situations, but they're really going to be solved within those platforms because we ourselves cannot control what is necessarily going on these platforms. If a student account is hacked or what we call compromise, like a student has reason to believe that somebody has gotten into their accounts, contact the IT service desk. They can help very quickly. And also we have what we call the Net ID Account Management Center, and this is available to find on our website as a link. This is where a student should go to reset their password. In terms of lost or stolen devices, at the Student Center, there's a lost and found where they can check to see if it's been turned in. If it has disappeared, completely and it can't be recovered, going to campus police, because we can often campus police can work with IT and there could be ways to recover that if it's still somewhere on campus. And of course, for their devices, whether it's an iPhone or an Android, there are tools on the device to enable in order to find them later. And this is useful just for misplacing too. Find my iPhone. Find my device. And we encourage them, you and them, to look at the other tools available. So if you enable that and the phone does disappear, you can set it to wipe the phone, for example. So if somebody steals a phone, as long as it connects to the internet, the next time that happens, it can be wiped completely. And you know that your phone, nothing on your phone is at risk. Okay, so this is the list of places to go to get more information. Again, this will be available as part of this webinar. These links are also on the main information technology website, which is the top link there, montclair.edu, information technology. That is the main place you can go to look at our various divisions, such as the service desk, information security, and get all the information you need. Now, we all have a role in helping to keep our students safe. We do our best as good stewards of student information and assisting them in all these ways. But it's you can talk to your student about the conversation we're having today, talking about online safety in addition to other safety issues that we all care about as parents. Reminding them that their instincts often do not lie. If something seems off, it probably will be off. Encouraging that asking for help. This is probably the third time I said it, but no judgment. When students ask us for help, we are here to help. And they can always tell us if something went wrong, and we are going to help them. Promoting those good password habits. Helping them in understanding why keeping their passwords safe, not writing them down. Offering tips and tricks, honestly, for creating those passwords. Don't use your pet names. Don't use your own name. Yeah, there's new and creative ways to create passwords that are memorable. Point them to the campus resources we've shared today. Point them to the areas where we've said, this is where you go to help. And modeling that good online behavior. We want everybody to have good practices online. I'm a parent myself, and being in this field, I've certainly talked about this on a regular basis and ingrained these good habits in my own child who's currently in high school. And keeping that conversation open and being honest about the things that could happen is very important. And again, creating that judgment-free zone. Um, we all make mistakes. And I've made a few too, and I've shared them with my own daughter. This is something I did. Mom, even in this business, can make a mistake online. Anything can happen. And of course, all of this goes for you too. The same advice that we give our students, we give to everybody. Um, you too have those strong, unique passwords. Turn on your MFA. Watch out for those bad emails and texts. Have your own caution on social media. Update your devices. Be safe when you're shopping online, and share what you learn yourself about these good habits with your own student. That is the end of the formal presentation. And I would love to hear if anybody has any questions, and I'm going to turn to my wonderful staff, Julie, to see if she has anything that I forgot.
So yeah, if anyone has any questions, you can unmute yourself at this time or throw them in the chat. We'll be happy to answer. Thank you, Emily. This was a wonderful presentation, very informative.
Thank you. And as a representative of MSU, an employee here, we are always open to parent questions as well. I might not always be able to answer them, but our website does have contact information for the Information Technology Office, for the Information Security Office, and we like to communicate with the students, with anybody who has questions, and we care very deeply about keeping everybody's information safe. So please feel free to reach out after this session if any questions come up, and we're always here.
Yeah. I see one in the chat. It says, I came in late. Where can we access this whole presentation? You probably got in here right now because you registered and you found the link in your email. We will send out the presentation and the recording through that same email sometime within the next week. If you don't see it, reach out to us at Red Hawk News and we will get it to you. I see a lot of thank you, very helpful. Thank you.
I
What I did
also
see very helpful.
I also would like to include Red Hawk News and everything like that has the campus ESP. I do provide on there the weekly articles that are posted on Fish Files for parents to also have access to them. They are on our website. Every week we are posting and we are providing it on that in those family groups. So if you do want to check it out, that's an easier way as well if it pops up on your feed.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Julie. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you, Emily and Julie.
Bye, everybody. Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone. Bye-bye.